Hi everyone, welcome to Amaranth. These are general messages for the collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus and Jupiter placements. Let's get into it. One more thing I wanted to add before we get started here is that I will pick up on the energies of the cards based on the surrounding cards. And the meanings will come through differently every time based on the other cards that are there in the reading. And I get asked this a lot, like how come the meaning of the card is changing? Because the surrounding cards are changing. And I will periodically explain to you why I say what I say, because of the energies of the cards that are there in the reading at that point in time. And I also give you references to the energies that I picked up on the prior cards, and that will affect the meaning of the cards that come after that. So I just wanted to put it out there so that you're mindful of which cards are paired up in the reading. Now, let's get to it. So the first card you have, Cancerians, is the humanitarian service. And it further says, your soul longs to joyfully serve. Being of service is a huge calling that is honorable and satisfying. How are you being called to serve humanity? Serve with grace and humility to assist those that cannot help themselves. Be an advocate, a confidante, and an inspiration along the way. This is just a beautiful message for you, Cancerians, and this is actually your energy completely. You're the nurturers of the zodiac. You're the caregivers. You are, a large-hearted, the largest heart of the zodiac wheel, right? So I feel this is just an extension of your energy. This is pure water element. And you, Scorpio and Pisces, are the water elements. But fourth house is more about caregiving. It's the house of family. It's the house of extended family. And for those of you Cancerians who, take the world as your whole family, this is that energy of those Cancerians who know that the world is their family. Let me read further over here. It says, you are being asked to let your nurturing heart overflow its banks and nourish the wider world. Do not see this as a burden, but as the ultimate expression of your soul's nature. Yeah, Cancerians, this rings about to your soul so deeply. Further, it says, you are the heart of the community. Your care is the glue that holds people together. Absolutely, Cancerians, you will go over and beyond to help people, and that's why and I feel that in doing so, when you don't get the same energy back in return, it kind of, hurts you. And that's why the life of Cancer is the crab wearing a shell on its back, a protective shell, also carrying home on the back. So wherever you go, you make it yours, you make it a home, whether it's a community, whether it's a country, wherever you move. You're so loving giving that you just make everyone feel so cared for, so loved. You create a home wherever you go. And that's not just because you want any kind of attention. You do it selflessly. You feel deeply connected. You feel empathic. You feel a sense of purpose in doing so, a sense of satisfaction in doing so. And for that reason, Cancerians are the go-to people. You will see a lot of people come to you for advice or just to sit there by their side when they're going through any rough edges, rough times, big and small. Having a Cancerian by their side is, the biggest support they can ever get up. You are the pillars of the community, the caregivers, and you help not only at your home or in your neighborhood, but also in the wider community. You're out there at grassroots level helping people, whether they're in war zones. You're out there, there are organizations like the Doctors Beyond Boundaries. And a lot of doctors out there are just providing free care, free consultation to people that, are in need, whether in conflict zones, war zones, or just in need. So I feel that Cancerians, you are right now, so deeply connected to humanity because you know that, the one in so many things I don't want to say that I don't know where to start. Anyways, in Africa, there is a concept of Ubuntu, and that's exactly what this energy is. And I feel some Cancerian define this concept of Ubuntu in Africa. It says, I am because we are. It's just recognizing that the entire humanity is so interconnected, and our own personal well-being is completely reliant on the people that are around us. If the people live in the neighborhood is unwell, you cannot be well. And same goes for Buddhism. When I was reading Buddhism, I read a lot of Buddhism scriptures, and there is a concept, or I would say a philosophy, as they say it, of Wu Wei. It's called Wu Wei. And excuse me if I'm saying it wrongly, but this is how I remember it as Wu Wei, which is an effortless action. The theory is about how when we give our service, when we serve the community, and we do it when we do it selflessly, when we feel the deep connection and we do it out of love, out of compassion, or of empathy or sympathy, it's the most effective service, because we are not looking for any benefits back. And we just give selflessly, and there is no ego, there is no force, there is no power games, there's no dynamics over here. It's just selfless giving so that we uplift the other person who's not capable of taking care, or who's not in a situation of taking care of themselves. So, these energies are completely the same thing, humanitarian surface, when we feel that we are part of this universe. We're just a tiny dot in this whole world. And we go out and, we're like not coming from a place of ego, knowing that we're it's like, Michael Jackson's song, We Are the World. Heal the world. I would say heal the world and we are the world. We are the world and heal the world. Both embody this energy. And I feel that, and I'm sure every one of you has heard that song. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. That's exactly what this is, a call to serve humanity globally. So some of you might actually be getting a boost or a push to actually do something for the community. You might be, into teaching underprivileged kids. And I've seen a lot of people do that, even in my family as well, in my extended family, where people are tutoring, kids that are underprivileged, and they just feel so satisfied. It's like a life's purpose that they have now. And so some of you might be into organizing cleanup, just a lot of organizations there that are cleaning up the beaches, cleaning up the cities, painting the streets, painting the walls, the streets, that are dirty and all of that. So these are just ways of showing love and to create that, community that has a strong foundation of giving back, of caring for each other. So there are some cleanup organizations. If any one of you is interested in participating, look it up. It's a good chance, the energy for you. And I feel this not just for Cancerians. This energy should go out to the entire zodiac wheel. But Cancerians, I feel, are in this energy, highly driven for humanitarian efforts. Some of you might be, looking after foster pets, and were, until they find until they get adopted or find their home, next home. I feel that you're looking after some foster pets, maybe even kids, or you're just cooking up in community kitchens and distributing it out to the communities or something like that. I'm also picking up, there is, for those of you that are interested in any kind of a community service, you can look up the community soup kitchens. They are engaged in cooking and preparing hot meals and hot meals for the people. And for you guys, yes, it is totally going to be a very elevated experience. You will feel happy. You will feel healed in general. When you heal other people, it elevates us too. And like I said, in Taoism, I was talking about Wu Wei and the same thing. There's another concept that I just recall. It's called metta, METTA, and it's the synonymical term for that is loving kindness meditation. That's another way of giving your unconditional love and your well wishes. When we send well wishes outward to people, that are sick, that are in difficult situations, when we give them and we pray for them, you know, for everyone, whether it could be across the world, it could be any nation, country, see that's battling a difficult time. When we send our prayers, our well wishes, and truly, genuinely from our heart, send our prayers and well wishes, it works wonders. It works magic, and when we do it with intention, then, the universe listens. So I do feel that in doing so, you will feel that elevation, that phenomena when we feel elevated, when you feel that euphoria of helping people. It's called the helper's high. That's the technical term for it. Look it up if you have not heard of that. It's called the helper's high, and it's a scientific phenomena. It's a biological phenomena where when we are generous and kind towards other people, when we give, it actually releases those hormones, those endorphins in our brain. And that actually gives us that happy high, just like when some people drink wine or alcohol, we should not be drinking because it's harmful for health. But the kind of happy high you get in those moments, or just, that when you get selected to a university, that high feeling that I did it, kind of that euphoria that you feel is the feeling that some Cancerians, I feel, you will be feeling through this humanitarian service effort. So great job with whatever you are doing. I feel that you're truly connected to the people. You're feeling their being. You're really feeling it for them. Some of you might be living in some communities where people are in need of help. Maybe some people you see by the streets. Homelessness is also a problem these days, and I feel that some of you might be helping out with that as well. Some of you might be helping people that are displaced from the countries because of, some kind of conflict zones or war zones that they are in. Some of you might be into that energy as well. And I tell you, these are positive effects, that positive actions that create positive effects, ripple effects and good karma that comes back to us, in ways that we cannot even imagine. So I'm also picking up energies of Cancerians that are helping out voluntary in hospitals, in community centers for elderly, or for looking after younger kids, where there is help needed in any way you're able to serve the community. I'm also picking up an energy of helping serve the country, the people, in whichever way you can, making time for it and doing that, whether it's to cooking or whether it's to cleaning or whether it's to donating, whatever it is. You are definitely feeling that happiness and contentment of a life well lived. So it's a great job. And, I will refer you to a movie. Watch it for sure. It's called, sorry about the noise, guys. Okay, so yeah, I was talking about a movie guys should definitely watch. It's called Pay It Forward. Pay It, P-A-Y, Pay It Forward. And it's a beautiful movie. It's about a young boy who, nowadays also I would say that this movement has become very popular. This was, in that movie, it was shown as a young boy who starts this movement about helping three people, and even today that movement is going on. It's carrying on. And I've seen so many people, sometimes, especially during the holiday season, when you go to a store or a shop or a restaurant or a coffee shop, and especially when there are huge lines, I remember about a year ago, I was standing in a line for a coffee, and then they started a trend like the person pays for the one who's standing behind, and so on and so forth. And, it was a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I really like that. And I feel that some of you might be into that as well. Now, some of you, when it comes to humanitarian, everybody does their bit. I feel everybody. I was watching, and not watching, just everywhere around in the news there are like, developers, real estate developers who will create shelter for all income communities, right? So that's like in inclusivity that I really like about the real estate organizations as well, you know, the Habitat for Humanity, and especially people that are struggling financially, or, you know, or all people who need help, assistance in having a shelter, a home. There's all the resources, governments helping, real estate communities, developers are all doing their best when they can. And I feel this is exactly what this is. So some of you might also be donating. The next card you have, Cancerians, is the Saturn Moon Titan. You know, Moon is your ruler of fourth house, and here you have the Saturn Moon. So you are going far and wide with this energy. So let's break it down for you, Cancerians. Further, it says here, sticking with it for the duration. So you're not giving up. You're, you know, whatever you're into, you're going to be there for a bit. It's not like fly by night or here today, gone tomorrow. It's not that kind of an initiative that you're invested into. You're fulfilling your promises and obligations. Um, and I already felt that with that humanitarian surface. You know, sometimes we overbook ourselves, we overdo things. And Cancerians, you with a large heart, it's hard for you to say no. And especially at this time when you're feeling empathic, you might be a little tad more busy or the normal. Because you're unable to say no. You know, you've made a promise, but you're not feeling well. But that doesn't mean you're going to back out. You're still going to fix yourself as much as you can and make it to the appointment or to the meeting or to whatever you promised. And I feel that's the energy I'm picking up from you. Now, even if it means dragging yourself, and some of you might be even into sports, you know, when you're, or just in the regular chores. It doesn't have to be, but I'm just picking up an image of like, you know, dragging yourself up to the finish line. So maybe you're not feeling up to it. Maybe you're too exhausted doing so much, but you're like, you know what, one more thing, let's get through this. And, you know, and then let's call it a day. So I feel that even though you might not be feeling, you're still doing it. And this energy of not giving up, not quitting, you know, no matter how tired you feel, is, you know, something that, of course, you know, it is a fire energy. It is, you fired up into something. But I feel because there is a Saturn, Moon, Titan energy here, and of course, Moon rules your fourth house sign, fourth house as well. Let me finish what's written over here. It says, you are being invited to be the cartographer of your own soul's hidden geography. Do not fear the cold, dark waters of your subconscious. Within them lies the crystalline structure of your true strength and the secrets to your emotional freedom. This is not a punishment. It is the most respectful task the universe can give you. To know yourself so completely that nothing can ever truly shake you again. Take a deep breath and begin the descent. The treasures you will find are worth more than any surface level comfort. Absolutely, you know, that emotional depth, you know, through which you express your empathy, your compassion with the humanitarian vibes. That's the ultimate expression of your sign, humanitarian service. So you are in that inner world, emotional landscape right now, Cancerians, for the most part, I feel. And I do feel that you're trying to connect with something deeper inside of yourself, something ancient, something which is timeless also. And I feel that you are, you know, you're not into the small talks, you're not into superficial things. You're more like, what do I truly want? You know, what is my emotion? What is my heart? What is my soul speaking to me? And I feel that you will get the clarity. You will have deep clarity about who you are, why you do things the way you do, why you react to things the way you do. You know, because once we understand our emotional or inner landscape, we kind of understand how we're creating, you know, how we create our external world based on that. It's like having a deep inner world checkup to see what our emotional foundation is like. Now, some of you might even be going for a full comprehensive health checkup to understand what your body, what your physical foundation is like. And so some of you Cancerians could be into that as well. But on the emotional side, we're speaking of patterns, subconscious patterns, our conditioning, our understanding of ourselves, what are we made of, the deep waters. And I feel that there is a deconstruction going on right now, or at least you have been thinking about it. Maybe you've been contemplating and, thinking about deconstructing your emotions. Or reading up material that help you figure things out. I do sense Cancerians, I did pick up an energy where you're buying a lot of books. I feel some time ago, a few weeks back, I think I picked up your energy, Cancerians, where you were into buying a lot of books, reading up a lot. But I feel that now you're digging into those books and reading complicated matters, trying to figure things out as well. And it could be related to psychology, physiology, connection, community, spirit, astrology, deeper things of the universe and things like that. So some of you could be into that as well. Or, maybe you're just cleaning up things because you want to just clean things up and make more sense of what you have, like creating stronger, sensible structures. You could be upcycling for that matter. You're like, okay, I can't use this table over here for this purpose, but I can use it for that. So repurposing things, upcycling things. And that's what some of you that are in the fashion world, also Cancerians, could be doing that, deconstructing fashion in the sense that I've seen a lot of fashion brands or a lot of designers, independent or big, they take apart old garments to understand the structure of the fabric, to understand the structure of that design and create something new using that same fabric or something similar to that, and if you have read about or heard about a designer called Rei Kawakubo, and she is an amazing, or I would say a designer. If you have seen her work, she has two companies. From what I know, one of them I remember from the top of my head is Embark, which I follow regularly. And that's how I know about it. And for those of you interested, you can see her work as well. She does that architectural work on clothing. It's not just surface level things, just stitching up here and there. She deconstructs fashion and the work she's doing is so deep. You feel emotionally drawn to something inside of your emotions will get stored up when you see her fashion. Ria Karakabo, if you're interested. I'm not promoting anybody, it's just that I just share the interests that I have and the things that I read so that if you're interested, you can follow along. Now, some of you might be seeing some developments of a similar kind around you. If those of you who have heard about it, and if you haven't, you can look it up. It's called brownfield sites. There's a concept of brownfield sites where old and abandoned industrial lands, those places, and have lived in neighborhoods where old factories have been coming down, but you just can't construct anything randomly out there, right? Because it takes a lot of research. You have to study the history of the land, of the environment. You have to cleanse it up. You have to transform it. You have to remediate it. You just can't have people living out there or constructing anything else out there, whether it's a mall or something, because it could have polluted water, plumbing, metal pieces, remnants, whatever it is there. You cannot carry that forward into the next community. So you have to clean that up. You have to remediate that land. And I feel some of you are into that as well, where you are transforming those polluted species. Or maybe it's the developer around you is transforming those old, tagged or down land that's available to them. And they're constructing something really valuable in those areas. So some of you might be seeing those initiatives being kicked off or already in motion out there around you. Another article that I read a few days back was, not a few days back, a few months back actually, was about, Turkey. There is an ancient site, and like and I might not say it right, so please bear with me or excuse me and correct me if you can. There is then an ancient site that the Turkey They have the excavations going on at that ancient site. It's called Kobe Tepe. That's how I understand it. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but they are doing those excavations out there at a huge level because they want to understand more about human civilization. They want to understand their history more. So it's interesting how people want to understand their past, and in a similar way, I feel that's what you're doing. You're trying to understand your past, your conditioning, your subconscious, what got passed down, from family to family, from person to person. How did you inherit those qualities, those traits, not just the money, but even the belongings, When we look back into our past treasures that we have accrued or inherited, we kind of dig deep into it, And when we look at it, we understand, how far have we come? Or we get the answers to our questions like, why are we the way we are? Once we understand that, it actually helps us clarify so many things inside of our head. And if needed, you can have these conversations to diffuse tensions if you feel that there is tension in family members around you. You can do some meditation. I know some meditation that actually will help you figure out your thought patterns. It's called Vipassana. That's so, I've been learning about it a lot, and it's called Vipassana meditation. And it actually allows you to observe your own behavioral patterns, your thought patterns, and don't judge yourself for it because we all have history. We all are trying to get somewhere, can become better versions of ourselves. So without judgment, feel things too, understand your patterns. And I'm pretty sure you will come up with major breakthroughs. It's got to be a practice that you need to take up for a bit. You need to practice it for a few weeks, if not, a month or 2 or 3 before you get to those realizations. And it's very powerful. So be open to whatever realization comes to you. There is a song that I was singing. It is kind of related to this. It's a little darker song. It's by a modern day artist, and her name is Sia. And the song is Breathe Me. It's like Hold Me, Wrap Me Up. So I feel that kind of energy translates to this because when we are deconstructing our own inner world, trying to understand ourselves better, we kind of become prone to guilt and guilt-tripping ourselves or feeling vulnerable, like, why did I do this, and you're feeling bad. But at that moment, you need that support. You need that emotional support around you of people, of communities, or of organizations or therapy or therapists that will understand, why you're deconstructing yourself and rebuilding your inner world. You will need that emotional support of people around you. So make sure that you are in a company of either your trusted friends, your advisors, your family who will understand you while you are working through these emotional depth Cancerians. So that's why I thought I mentioned this song, because it is of some relevance to you. And you might need some kind of help and support, especially if you go deep down there. It's like, if, for example, we're working with glass, right? Glass. Now, if we constructed in a box, we can create a aquarium for the fishes to be in there. If we take the same glass, break it down, and reconstruct it, we can create a vase out of it where you can put flowers and water again. So it's that glass I'm talking about, when you deconstruct it to the bare bones, then you can reconstruct it back in the shape that you want it to. You can create aquarium out of a glass. You can create a bowl out of a glass, or you can create a vase out of a glass. So it's deconstructing glass. So glass is synonymous of your emotional world, right? So when we look past it, when we understand, we can construct stronger structures that will stand the test of time for us emotionally. It wouldn't break us down emotionally that ways. So work with that energy, considering it's a very, very positive energy to reinvent ourselves, to understand more about ourselves. And I tell you, once you have the clarity on your inner world, you will reassemble it in a more perfected form, more better form for yourself. So don't be afraid of doing that. It's the inner plumbing that we all need to do at some point in time. And the energies now are favoring you to do that. So go ahead and do it. Now, some of you might be into uncovering treasures of the ocean. I have to mention it because this energy resonates with this Saturn moon Titan. Some of you might be exploring the universe, There's like the telescope. Some of you might be into telescopy or just working in the cosmic telescope. And there is so many powerful telescopes these days for exploring the space, for exploring the structures that, explain the universe and its origin much better. Some secrets that we didn't know things that we have never heard of. And I'm really curious about, astronomy. I really like reading the latest articles about it. The James Webb Space Telescope is something that you can also catch up on to understand, if you're interested, that is. Now, the caveat with this end. The next card you have, Cancerians, is the Crown of Fire, and it further says transmutation. You see, this is absolutely, it is, of course, the goddess of fire, but it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Picture, the image is about the phoenix rising from the ashes, and of course, it's depicted in the form of a goddess, and this is the goddess of fire. Fire is her tool that she works with. It's nothing to be afraid of. And the same for you, Cancerians, I feel. So basically, fire is a purifier, and this is a very strong Leo energy, because Leo is the fixed fire sign. So it's the most powerful or the most potent that sustains the energy of the fire, the sign of Leo, so that you might have in your chart, or you are just, working with this energy. So I feel, Cancerians, Crown is maturity. Crown is wisdom. And Crown of Fire is the wisdom and maturity to use fire for the benefit. It's like fire can destroy and fire can also cook. So how do we use fire now as a tool to purify our life, to purify everything that needs purification? Let me read further what's written over here. It says, this is a secret initiation into your power. You are being handed the alchemist tools. Your emotional depth is not a weakness to be protected, but the raw substance for creating a life of profound wisdom and radiant strength. So here I feel that your emotions are going through a transmutation. You are feeling the feels, and it's going to drive you forward to release things that are no longer working for you. It's because of the experiences that we have. It's because of the challenges that we have encountered in the past, and negative experiences. Like the, everything collected in the everything that did not work for us in the past is now we're leave, because it's a new version that's evolving, and for that to evolve, it takes work. So there is nothing to be fearful of this energy. Rather, it's a good time that you work with it, because this energy is going to give you a boost of confidence, of courage, with which you will burn away things and aspects of yourselves that you don't like, and that's a good thing. So anything you've been feeling in the past, like why was me, if you were in that energy, or if you've been holding on to past regrets, hurts, whatever negative space the past experiences have been holding in your heart, mind, is a good time to release. It's asking for a release, actually. So don't fear releasing it. Because once that's gone, once those attachments are gone, once those even habits, or even, anything that you don't like about yourself. And we have to be honest with ourselves as well, right? Like nobody's perfect. So we have to identify those parts, those aspects, those things that that don't define us anymore in the present moment. So leave that, let it go, and what comes out of it is a new version of you. So let me read further here. It says, what remains will be the unshakable golden truth of who you have always been, a resilient, powerful, and deeply wise soul. You are the alchemist of your own heart. Now begin the great work. Yeah, so that's what this is. This is like, and it's with everybody. These are cycles. We learn, we release, we grow. And over the years, we realize that we have turned into some being that was completely different, like a decade or 2 decades ago, or 3 decades ago, and it's because these fires are required in our lives to just, to burn away things that are not needed anymore, and nothing wrong with that. It only makes us feel brighter. It makes us feel more upgraded, updated, more authentic. It also, makes us calm. It keeps us calm. It keeps us peaceful if we keep doing that work. Um, it's like, the ori gadgets that we have in our house. They stop working. What are you going to do keeping them? They're just taking space and not allowing new things. They're not, and then they occupy space and you cannot buy new things. So when you release those, when you let those go, either throw it away or if they're old and you don't like it, then you probably donate it if somebody can still use that and things like that. So space is available now for new things to come in, and same here. So space is available for you to bring in the new values, your new belief system, your new habits, whatever changes that you're making in your life, lifestyle changes, the way you look, maybe the way you carry yourself, the people you surround with, the relations you surround with, all of that, it comes to deep wisdom. And that's what this energy of crone of fire is asking you to do. So for you consider it's a good time to, for those of you that are into writing your soul diaries, you can write it down and then you can see like, what comes of it. Sometimes you recognize what went wrong. Sometimes we find the lesson in it. Sometimes we find the motivation to, turn that pain into power for ourselves. So if you write the soul diaries, if you do some kind of writing, that'll help you at this point in time. Now, some of you might be, it's inner plumbing basically. So, and it's always a good thing to identify, which areas we can refine. Some of you might be into sports, you might be training differently, you might be joining different, sports routines or health routines or something like that. Or in general, also, you might be taking to some health routines or eating healthily, so that your old bad habits of eating are gone away, or old bad habits of not exercising are gone away, or things like that. Some of you can also be decluttering, like I said, making space for the new so that the old is gone. Now, others of you, I feel that, I'm picking up energy of a Cancer that is deconstructing their own home. Like you might have, when living in a house, maybe it's a parental property from a long time, or maybe you bought an older property and now you're kind of tearing down the walls inside and you're recreating the homes per your requirements, like leaving the outer structure like that. And of course, painting it and renovating it, but at the same time, leaving the structure as it is, outer structure, and taking down the inner walls and creating room space like you want it. So some of you might be into that as well. Or this could also be, taking old clothes and turning it into something new, using the fabric. I know that there are some philosophies that, prefer like not to throw away older clothes or torn clothes and things like that, and using more modernistic embroidery or repairing techniques to use the same fabric, especially if it is passed on through family or it is dear to family, and kind of giving it a new feel, modern day feel, so that, not everything about that cloth or the memory is lost. And some of you could actually be writing some kind of memoirs or diaries in regards to your family and good moments and, and things like that. And, or just creating some kind of a family structure, those family trees and things like that. Some of you could be into it as well. Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on. Some of you are like creating or learning about your family history. Some of you could be learning about your family history traditions and trying to move that forward by giving it a new make and feel. It's like when we have some skill that's passed down, maybe it was done in an older way, and now you upskill and you pass that down or use that skill, more using modern tools. Either you, keep it in your house, or you use it as a business or passion project or something like that. You could be doing that as well. I'm also hearing a lot of pottery wives, so some of you could be into pottery making and things like that. Some of you may actually be redoing your garden space as well. I'm getting, picking up energy of somebody who's painting things that is in there, some older things that's there. So painting it, polishing it, and making it like new. So giving the old or beaten down object a new look and feel, so that you can preserve it for a long time. And even if it's not playing out in your life, this energy considering it could be playing out in some in the family around you, in your house, or in your neighborhood. Even globally, you might be hearing some news or articles around, old land being reused as something else, repurposing as something else. Like, I've heard of old factories being converted into something more modernistic and things like that. So you might be seeing old buildings being used for a newer purpose. Maybe it's turned into a museum, maybe it's turned into some kind of old architectural visit and people who are visited now. Something like that could be happening around you as well. So that's this crown fire, which and sometimes Cancerians around us in our neighborhood also will start up these projects. So if this is not playing out in your life, these could be Cancerians in the world globally that are actually kicking off projects like these. Now, I'm also picking up energies of Cancerians, becoming mentors or guides of some kind. So either it's to the people in your house, the younger people, or even to it could be to any age groups, because you've been there, done that, you've experienced it also. People look up to you for advice or some kind of guidance in a certain area. So some of you might be stepping up as mentors in colleges, schools, or even, in general, in maybe in your house around you, or maybe you're taking to social media and a portal to, share your experiences and mentor the younger generation. And that's a good way, I feel, because that way we're able to use our experiences and, pass down the transpirated version to the next generation so that they don't make the same mistakes as, we have done or our older generation has done and things like that. So, I'm also picking up that some of you are actually becoming more disciplined, in the sense of your taking care of your bodies, of your personal well-being, your health. So some of you might actually be do more exercise or healthy eating routines and things like that. I'm also picking up strong memoirs. Like some of you might be into writing, stories that you have experienced or of your family or of your neighborhood community, something like that. Creating a book, creating memoirs, maybe painting also. And that or maybe receiving or maybe you're being handed down some kind of paintings from the your family, your family heritage and things like that. So some of you could be receiving that as well. For those of you interested in reading some, there is like books of Brené Brown that I have read, and she is an amazing writer. She talks about all of those, inner world plumbing aspects for everyone. I would say, like, overcoming fear and overcoming vulnerabilities and all of those things that make us fearful, that we fear. So she has done a lot of research and she's written a lot of material. There's a lot of content. For those of you who want to check that material out, you can do that too. And I promise you, you won't be disappointed. It's a great read. She's great with whatever she has written, and I really enjoy her work. So, and I promise, and I hope you enjoy it too. And it's going to be very uplifting, very eye-opening, and very comforting to read her work. I'm also picking up, there is like, for those of you who are, again, interested in watching any kind of online resource in relation to this, you can watch the movie Mulan. It comes through very strongly for this energy, Mulan, Mulan. The girl in that is Fa. The girl in the movie is Fa. And the last card for today, Cancerians, you have number 31, and it says, once upon a midnight dreary. Once upon a midnight dreary. And it further says, creativity, genius, writing expression, artistic flow. So the number 3, 1, and 4 are coming through strong with this energy now. Further, it says, this is a gift from the depths of your own soul. You are being invited to stop running from the quiet and the dark. Within that space lies your unique creative magic. Your sensitivity is your superpower. It always is. You are the nurturers, the fuelers, the healers, the, 4th energy. Cancer energy is driven by moon. So it's dream space, it's ideas, it's creativity, it's flow of emotions, flow of ideas. Even subconscious is covered through the 4th energy. That's what Cancer spirit brings to the table. So it says, let the ribbon of your intuition perch on the bust of your daily life and speak its mysterious creative word. Never more to creative blocks, never more to fearing your own death. Yeah, so feel your feels. There's no, if you were having some creative blocks, I feel that's going to be lifted. And it says, embrace the muse of the moonlit hour. So some of you might be into night writing or creating some dark kind of art, painting or choosing darker colors and things like that. You might be sleeping a little late, which I do not, endorse. But anyways, your greatest creations are waiting for you there. And the beautiful fertile dark. So I do feel some of you are inspired by night themes, by dark colors, maybe starry skies, some darker patterns, gothic themes. And further says, now pick up your pen, your brush, or your instrument. It is time to create. So a productive time, of course, after the evening hours or at night, in the later hours, in the wee hours. Some of you might be waking up. Some of you might be getting some ideas or dreams in those hours as well. Maybe you're writing something about the night or some darker themes, maybe darker emotions or darker themes that are playing out in the society. So you might be creating some online content, music, some movies, some shows, some books, or writing blogs. Now, just speaking of things that happen in the dark. Now, in the dark means behind closed doors, or it could be in the nighttime as well. So some of you might be covering events around that time. Some of you might be also spending a little bit time thinking of these issues, or maybe just contemplating things in your own life. But I feel that it's a lot. There's a lot of inspiration. There's a lot of ideas. Ribbon spirit is about giving something a new lift, starting something with a new passion. So you might be doing that as well. Or just, getting inspiration from, when you're sleeping or when you're just not doing anything, lost in your thoughts, maybe something comes to mind, or you just channel your emotions to create something from your subconscious, from the depth of your emotions. That's the subconscious mind speaking to us. So just feeling the feels also gives rise to a lot of inspiration, ideas, ways of doing things, ways of being, and things like that. So some of you might be tapping into that as well. And of course, your intuition is always your support system, your guidance system, because you're the water element, you're the cardinal water, you're the emotional, I would say the starting point of the emotions, and Scorpios are the fixed water signs. So some of you will start off something which has an emotional tone to it or an undertone to it, like music, compositions, dramas, or theaters, something creative that channels your emotions outright. A lot of writers channel their emotions to create beautiful pieces of music. And, some of you might be actually, creating some space for you to work, I do recall it's called as writer's retreat, where people created those logs or cabins, wooden cabins in the woods, to have that space for them to think, to be in their thoughts and their emotions, to create something out of it. There is something called as dark academia. It's a form of decorating your house, and especially those people that are into writing and creative arts and things like that, they actually decorate their homes with these dark book colors, those gothic, those olden times book shelves, and to create that space, where people can come together, they can brainstorm, they can think, and things like that. So, instead of going out there in the writer's retreat that used to happen before, I don't know, it might be happening now, or you might be creating some space like this in the back of your house, creating a space which is allows you to think, allows you to introspect and sit with your emotions and thoughts for a bit. So some of you could be into that as well. Now, have heard of a lot of writers, Mozart itself, if you see his movie based on him, it's called Amadeus. So Mozart was a vessel, through which, and if you see that movie, you'll be blown away. And I really encourage you to watch that movie for sure whenever you have a moment, It shows how divine chose Mozart as the body or the vessel to, send these thoughts, send these ideas, these symphonies that he created. Because, if you, in the movie, there is his opponent, and his name is Salieri. And Salieri said that the things, the notes, the scripts that he wrote, the scripts or the manuscripts that Mozart wrote, did not need to be corrected. There was no room for correction. It was just like the divine is pouring those melodies and symphonies into him, and he was just writing it down on a piece of paper. It was that kind of it was like, it gave me goosebumps to watch that movie, but it's beautiful. I recommend each. If you watch it, you will get some inspiration out of it. And for those of you interested in getting inspired by music, you can listen to the song, which I really like. The song is called Hallelujah, and it's by a artist called as Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen, if I'm saying it right, and excuse me if I'm not. A song name is Hallelujah, for sure I know. And how he created that song, oh my God, it took him like almost years and years. I don't know how many years it took him to create that song, and so many versions and revisions of it. But then that song came from his emotional struggles, and that was the starting point for this creativity. That starting point, I call it as this midnight GRE. So you might end up creating some masterpieces, Cancerians, that are soul deep, that touch everybody's soul. So work on those creative pieces if you're inclined towards it. So write it down, whatever words come to mind. Or you could just be journaling down what your thoughts, your dreams, whatever it is. And then, later on when you complete that and you look back, something will come out of it. A movie you could create, a drama you could create, or drama in the sense of theater you could create out of it, or something like that. Or it could be maybe that you are writing some kind of, I'm also picking up energy of Cancerians writing some letters, some heartfelt letters, thank you letters, emails. Maybe it's the time of the year where you're thanking people for and giving away cards, for their presence in your life. Or maybe you're just writing letters, to say how you feel. Maybe it's hard for you to praise them or say it in front, but you're expressing it through notes and things like that. So beautiful gestures if you're doing that. Or I would say there's also a mood board these days, that I also do in my, that I also personally like to do. You can create a playlist or a mood board that, that actually when you listen to that music, the kind of music, the genre, it brings out the emotions in you, the deep feelings, they just come out, they flow, and you feel lighter, if nothing else. So some of you can take to that as well. You can try that as well. Or some of you could be just invested into, writing and writing camps, or just, locking up in your, what is that, zen space or writing space, or, there's a lot of writing camps these days also where people just come together, they write music, they write stories, they write books and comics, whatever they're able to channel, to propagate art. And I love that idea. I love that concept for those of you that are creatives out there, and a lot of Cancerians are. So channel those ideas, channel whatever is coming to the surface, what's bubbling up, your fears, your vulnerabilities, your anxieties, whatever is bubbling up, channel that into something that you write and pen it out, and pen those thoughts, channel it so that you have that on record, and something will definitely come out of it, is what I'm picking up on with this energy. So now, some of you could be, motivational speakers as well, or getting ready to give some motivational speak, or go online platforms. There's so much there to express yourself, to share your experiences, and, people connect with those emotions instantly. So some of you could be into that as well. And I feel that this is a time for your genius to shine, and they call it a muse even, especially in the, in the technical terms. Where they say the divine comes and visits all those artists. And I truly believe in that too. not everybody's blessed with that. Not the divine doesn't visit everybody in the for creative reasons, but if you are getting some kind of a nudge, then don't ignore that. Tap into that. It's called the incubation period, if I'm not wrong. It's that process where you actually, you let your mind do the work, your subconscious mind, your ideas, just sitting there by yourself. Let your subconscious, let the ideas just flow from your mind, from the depth of your emotions, and that's where the brilliant ideas, those aha moments, as inspirations come to us, without even trying. So that's what our motto and the midnight theory is to me, where we're in the shower, we're not even working, and suddenly an idea comes. When we're sleeping, about to sleep, suddenly an idea comes. Or we're watching a movie and suddenly an idea just, is a solution to our problems or something like that. So just don't go get carried away by this energy, because the negative side of this energy is that you're just crying away, listening to music, not doing anything else. I'm getting depressed, feeling sad, feeling sorry. Don't do all of that, because you could get into this. That's how this energy hits, and it's going to be different for each one of you. For some, it'll be settled, some it'll be gentle, some it'll be a little bit more deeper. So to wrap up this energy, I'm just going to read what's written below there. It says, do not let this introspective, melancholic energy pull you into a state of creative paralysis, where you become so lost in your feelings that you never actually create anything, or where you use your art solely as a vessel for rumination without any catharsis or release, keeping you stuck in an emotional loop. Don't do that, Cancerians. It's a word of caution for you for this energy. So here it says, your challenge is to be the alchemist who turns the lead of melancholy into the gold of art, not the one who simply stares at the lead, right? So it's not a place of being lonely or locking up yourself, but this is going to be your secret studio, Cancerians, where your soul creates this beautiful, majestic, authentic work for you. So keep the channeling spirit up and get inspired, even if it's with small things, and use that inspiration, whether it's your voice, whether it's your writing, whether it's your drawing, painting, fashion, art, whatever that is for you. Don't fear anything. There is nothing to be fearful of. Because the silent moments, these quiet introspective moments, are actually the place where magic is created. And, it says here, your feelings, even the melancholic ones, are the ink with which you will write your masterpiece. And I totally agree. So if you need some quiet solitary time, go for it. But then don't just stay isolated, yeah. So and I'm pretty sure you'll end up creating something which is very genius, because that's how the genius comes about, right? The genius emerges from the shadows. So great energy here, Cancerians. Hope you enjoyed your messages. So thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe and hit the like if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye for now.